Ladies and gentlemen, I have an urgent warning, an urgent announcement. The workers are planning to strike, and you're not going to believe the reasons why behind this, folks. We've seen this already with the Railroad Workers Union. We've seen this with Amazon Workers Union. We've seen it with Starbucks. We've seen it with other unions out there. And the simple fact of the matter is, I'm not gonna beat around the bush. I'm not gonna hem and haw. I'm not gonna, take you guys on this long journey because I know you guys, for the most part, most of you guys don't want to hear the backstory and the buildup to how we got to this point, which is, in my opinion, very, very. I don't understand it because to me, I want to know as much as I can possibly know about anything and everything that's out there. Why? For the simple fact of the matter is that history will repeat itself. It has and it always will. And if I'm not paying attention to history and what has happened in the past and how it has repeated itself and put us in the position that we are in today, to experience the same things that have happened before that are ultimately going to potentially wipe out so many people, so many families, so many jobs, so many bi-weekly paychecks, incomes, savings, retirement plans, and the like, folks. Why would you not want to know how this happens so that you can plan and prepare so it doesn't happen to you? And two, if it is possibly going to occur again down the road, you can identify it because you know the warning signs to pay attention to. But the simple fact of the matter is that these companies have actually trained employees to go on strike. That's right. They are training workers to go on strike. Think about it. Think about it. BNSF, CSX, Union Pacific, Norfolk Southern. Warren Buffett is behind one of the largest railroad companies in the country, owned by Berkshire Hathaway, which is one of his many subsidiaries, which is one of his many passive income streams, which is one of his many diverse income streams, which is why diversity and investing for the long haul is key to building wealth. You can't argue with Warren Buffett's investment strategies and platforms and techniques and approach that he has executed day in and day out, consistently and significantly over the history of his investment portfolio and wealth building history. Folks, that's why we pay attention to the trends in the history and what has happened before and what is more than likely to happen again in the future, because these companies are training employees with the way that they're treating them, the unfair treatment, the unrealistic expectations that they put on these employees, with a huge reduction in the quality of their life, as they dangle this carrot. Look, this is the carrot. As they dangle this is a black bag. This is a black this is a black DJI bag for my DJI mic. That's what I'm using on this video right here. But they dangle, this is proverbially, like figuratively, the carrot that they're dangling. A little drawstring. Look at that. Little drawstring. So they dangle this carrot in front of these employees, and that carrot that they're dangling is retirement, a week retirement at that. As a retirement that's going to put you in a position to have to continuously work while you've retired. You go back to work to afford, a reasonably acceptable, mediocre quality of life on the amount of income that you have or ultimately do not have. I don't even know how you want to put it. But they're training these folks to go on strike because they're training them to realize that these companies don't care about them. They're training them to realize that these companies are going to retaliate against them and ding them for any minor infraction, more so for being human and needing to take sick days off and go to the doctor and go to the dentist and have emergencies. They are retaliating against these folks and training them to strike. Now, unfortunately, these folks in the railroad union, they basically had their legs cut out from underneath them. They had their rights. They thought they had an out with these strikes. They had it taken away from them with the presidential elected board, emergency board, the PEB Biden had put in place, and Congress is over there conspiring. Look, they had folks in Congress over there them folks in Congress over there on the east side of the aisle mess around like this and they were working, they were conspiring with each other. They're like, look, dog, we ain't gonna let these railroad workers go on strike because that's gonna shut down the economy. That's gonna mess up a lot of other things we got going on at play. We can't allow that to happen. So what we're gonna do? We're gonna enact this over almost 100-year-old law. We're gonna enact it, cut their legs out from under them, prevent them from having the ability to go on strike. But all that does, what does that do? It pisses them off. It pisses them off. It angers them. I didn't even know. Look at that. That's like that infinite loop. It's like a mirror on a mirror. That's kind of crazy. It angers them. And what does it do? It trains them to understand and realize that these employers don't give two craps about them. The government doesn't give two craps about them. The president doesn't give two craps about them. This pseudo pro-union president doesn't give two craps about them. So what does it do? It builds up this scar tissue, right? It builds up this scar tissue inside. And they're like, you know what? I don't trust you. I don't trust the train company. I don't trust Warren Buffett. I don't trust the president. I don't trust Congress. I don't trust Senate. None of these folks in the current administration, future, past, present, whatever it may be. And they're training them to say, we gotta make sure that we have our ducks in a row so that we can go on strike to fight for the laws and the rules and the negotiations and the quality of life that we deserve by putting our lives on the line and devoting so much of our time to these companies and their profits. We have to make sure that we protect numero uno first. Us, number one, the workers, the union workers. Amazon sees it, Starbucks sees it, Costco sees it, the Teamsters Union. They all are paying attention, and these companies are training. They are training the employees, not just the railroad workers, not just the folks on the freight railway systems, BNSF, CSX, Union Pacific, Norfolk Southern, not just them. They are training them all. All these union workers are being trained to know and understand and leverage the contract negotiations, the rules, and the legalities as far as any form of, government intervention that could prevent them from negotiating what they feel as though is rightfully theirs. Now, granted, some people say that, union workers overcharge, they drive up prices and things like that. But when we were talking about something like the U.S. supply chain, and railway freight covers over 33% of the U.S. supply chain, you can't let that go down. And that's what Biden stepped in. Biden, Congress, Senate, they all stepped in and made sure that didn't happen. But what did that do? It conditioned these folks to realize they are against us. They're not working for us. They don't care about us. They don't have our best interest in mind. And we need to further prepare and develop strategies, because these warning signs are clear. They need to develop strategies so that they have a leg to stand on, the ability to fight back in the future instance that this occurs again. And this is why we pay attention to history, because history will repeat itself.